Alright, picture this. You just got home, kicked off your shoes, and fired up your PS5. You've got snacks on one side, controller in hand, and a burning question in your brain. What should I play that's actually worth my time? Not some overhyped mess or a game that looks good in trailers but plays like a potato. I'm talking pure gold. The kind of games that grab you by the collar, whisper, just one more hour, and before you know it, it's 3 a.m. and you're emotionally attached to a cat or a mutant samurai. Could go either way. These aren't just good games, these are the chef's kiss of PS5 gaming. The ones that make your console whisper, thank you. We're diving into beautiful worlds, chaotic boss fights, cinematic storytelling, and even some games where you just exist peacefully with glowing mushrooms. Yep, that's a thing. So whether you're into epic action, mind-bending loops, or just want to become a web-slinging menace to society, hi Peter, this list has something that'll make you go, wait, how did I miss this? Let's count down 20 PS5 games that are, without a doubt, pure gold. No filler, no fluff, just greatness. Ready? Let's go. Demon's Souls on PS5 is like a 4K nightmare, in the best way. It's that medieval Souls-style action where enemies mow you down if you so much as sneeze. I still remember my first boss fight with the towering Troll G in Boletaria shouting, "Bro, come on!" every time I respawn. That's the magic. Death happens a lot, but when you finally beat a boss, it feels insanely good. TechRadar calls it a brutal, frequently punishing affair, but praises its next-gen visuals and super fast load times. In other words, Demon's Souls is gorgeous. Those crumbling castles and eerie forests look better than ever on PS5, and you barely spend any time waiting around after you die. It's an absolute must-play if you like your action hardcore. Just be warned, this game will smack you down dozens of times, but that sweet elation of victory is why it's pure gold. Picture this. You're racing along in RNC's over-the-top platforming universe, then BAM! You hop through a portal, and poof, new world, no loading screen. That's Ratchet and Clank, Rift Apart on PS5, and it feels like magic. The game doesn't take itself too seriously, filled with goofy new characters and classic humor. Haptic feedback makes your blaster feel oh so satisfying, and every weapon, I swear one of mine turns enemies into a shrub, is a blast to use. TechRadar gushes that Rift Apart is brilliant, fast-paced fun that retains all the charm we love from the series. In short, it's a joyride of slick combat, galaxy hopping, and killer jokes. I kept laughing at Clank's one-liners and gasping at the stunning set pieces. Seriously, try fighting a spider robot while dimension hopping between Italian piazzas and futuristic cities. It's exactly what a PS5 exclusive should be. Bombastic, colorful, and the kind of game you lose half a day to without realizing it. Returnal hits differently on PS5, kind of like a roguelike Metroidvania thrown into a blender. You play Celine, a space explorer stuck in an endless time loop on a sinister alien planet. Each death sends you back to the start, forcing you to learn every terrifying corner all over again. It's punishing, but brilliant. Reviewers say Returnal puts its own stamp on the roguelike genre, praising its unpredictable levels and calling it a true PS5 powerhouse. The visuals are mind-blowing, the sound design is atmospheric, I jump every time some alien screeches in my headphones, and your DualSense controller even rumbles with each footstep. I got hooked on chaining together cool combos with every run. Imagine blasting enemies with a scatter shot, then swapping to a rocket launcher mid-air with no loading screen. Playing Returnal feels like being in a sci-fi horror movie that you actively fight through. It's tough, sometimes unfair, but I couldn't stop telling myself, just one more loop, every time I died. PS5 owners get high frame rates and near-instant restarts, so every crash into a glass wall, Celine's worst enemy, is followed by, alright, one more time, as the game spins you back in seamlessly. Truly, if you want an exclusive that screams next-gen thrills, Returnal is it. Web slinging has never felt so epic. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 on PS5 brings Peter and Miles together in a story that hits hard. Yes, there are Venom face-offs. Finally, the city of New York has never been this alive. You can zip around in the snow by Central Park, or chase bad guys through neon-soaked nights, all in buttery smooth 4K. TechRadar notes that Spider-Man 2 is one of the best games of the generation, and I have to agree. From hilarious side quests, the Pigeon's detective mission, come on, how did that get in there? To intense boss fights, everything is dialed up to 11. The PS5 hardware really shines. Every punch feels meaty thanks to the haptic triggers, and the new web wings let you soar in ways past games couldn't. Critics say it prioritizes fun above all else, and they're spot on. I'll be honest, I shrieked the first time Venom grinned at me on the PS5's big screen. And plot twist, I won't spoil who you face at the end, but trust me, you'll be glued to your seat. Spider-Man 2 is a joyful, heartfelt superhero sandbox. Play it wearing a cape or not, you'll still feel like a kid again, swinging through skyscrapers. Astro's Playroom is basically the PS5's karaoke demo for its tech, but written as the cutest platformer you'll ever play. It starts the second you boot up your console and takes place inside the PS5. No joke. Early levels make you think Astro's a tiny robot inside your hardware. The whole game is stuffed with PlayStation nostalgia and surprises. Even big names like Mario or Sonic get mentioned. Tech Radar even said Astro Playroom stands up to gaming's biggest giants like Mario and Sonic, and it's true. The levels are inventive. 1 second Astro's tiptoeing across floating memories of old PS1 consoles. The next he's steering a rocket with motion controls and feeling every bump, thanks to the DualSense's haptic. It barely takes a few hours to finish. It's short but sweet, yet every minute is a smile. I found myself giggling at the little PlayStation history Easter eggs and how damn smooth the controls felt. Basically, Astro's Playroom isn't just a free PS5 game, it's proof that even a simple platformer can feel revolutionary with the right tech. Trust me, if you own a PS5 and somehow miss this game, you're missing the most adorably fun feature demo around. Helldivers 2 is what you get when you mix Starship Troopers with comedy. Insanely chaotic co-op warfare where friendly fire is always on. Loaded up with friends and Super Earth becomes your playground for hilariously deadly missions. Tech Radar sums it up perfectly. Whether you're slaying enemies with your friends or slaying your friends while enemies are also present, if you've got the crew, this is a guaranteed good time. It really is. Nothing brings buddies together like accidentally blowing each other up with a missile while trying to save the day. Visually, it's surprisingly gorgeous. Those tarantula bug aliens and laser blaster effects look crisp on PS5, and the DualSense makes each shot feel beefy. I spent one mission laughing until my stomach hurt. My pal sent a grenade hurtling across the map and somehow nailed me midair. Classic. If you love co-op chaos, Helldivers 2 is it. The missions are varied. The difficulty spikes, especially when fighting giant robots, and every victory ends in high fives, and sometimes accusing each other of betrayal. Critics say it's riotous violence and among the best co-op experiences you can have. I'm not arguing. It's like a party game with guns. Just remember, never walk in front of a friendly tank. If you love wandering through breathtaking landscapes while playing a badass samurai, Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut is your jam. This isn't a PS5 native game. It originally came out on PS4, but the PS5 enhancements are sweet. Faster load times, ray tracing mode, and even a new story island, Iki Island, to explore. Even on PS4, it was stunning, and Press Start's review said I'd be captivated by the beauty of its environments and its visceral and responsive combat. And they weren't kidding. Picture yourself standing in a field of golden grass, sword drawn, wind blowing ominously. Photoreal visuals that'll make you pause and take a screenshot. Then bam, a horse ambush or a stealth kill occurs, and the controls feel buttery smooth. The Iki Island DLC adds a ghostly new adventure that's darker and funnier. There's a ghost wolf sidekick. I often spent way too long just tricking my PS5 into a photo mode to capture samurai selfies. Basically, Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut is an open-world sword-swinging love letter to feudal Japan, with all the cinematic flair and polish you'd hope for on PS5. It might stick to old-school open-world formulas, but who cares when it looks and feels this good? Just don't be surprised if you find yourself saying Oni-chan at least once. That ghost wolf does get weird. Naughty Dog's The Last of Us Part 1 Hayas, the PS5 remake, is the ultimate way to experience Joel and Ellie's gut punch of a story all over again. Every emotional beat is cranked up to 11. The game kicks off already perfect scenes with shined up visuals and even faster frame rates. Think 4K resolution, dynamic hair on Ellie's head, and a crackling DualSense trigger when Joel rolls a Molotov. It's uncanny how real everything looks now. Reviewers said it best. Unforgettable characters, sky-high stakes, nail-biting action, and impeccable pacing make it a superlative gaming experience. And yup, I still tear up at the hospital scene like it was day one. The PS5 version is the definitive way to play this story, with new difficulty modes if you want blood, and tons of accessibility options so even great grandma can shotgun a clicker. Even familiar sections feel fresh. Sneaking through a snowy cabin or that heart-wrenching bedroom scene now packs more punch with ray-traced lighting and crispy sound. Bottom line, you've probably heard how amazing this game's story is. Well, it is. Playing Part 1 on PS5 is like watching an already great movie with a bonkers IMAX upgrade. You know how it ends, but trust me, the journey is still worth every intense emotional second. Kratos and Atreus are back for Ragnarök on PS5. And wow, did they deliver the daddy-son epic we'd been waiting for. This one's big, like blow-your-mind Norse saga big. It keeps the perfectly pitched combo of heartbreak and high-octane action that the 2018 God of War nailed. Tech Radar even says the mix of gripping and emotional narrative with God of War's signature crunching combat is something to behold. And they weren't kidding. Every punch and Leviathan axe swing feels meaty, and cutscenes with Kratos' awkward parenting make me giggle and cry all at once. The PS5 just makes it prettier. Detailed ice-covered forests, roaring dinosaurs, and those pop-up world environments look fantastic. The story felt more mature. subtle cues, childhood nightmares, and all that. Spoiler vibe hint. I won't spoil anything, but let's just say you might shed a tear. Critics also noted the nuanced, emotive storytelling, and said Ragnarök is often as brutal as it is poignant, making it easily the best epic on PS5. In my couch opinion, this game is literally a blockbuster movie you get to play. It's heart-wrenching, jaw-dropping, and end credits still roll while I sit there asking, is it over? Please tell me there's DLC. Horizon Forbidden West is Aloy's sequel that goes big in every way. It's an open world of art. Robot dinosaurs roaming through sunsets so pretty they gave me Video Bug's throat. The story, Alia again saving the world stuff, is classic Horizon. But the real star is the world itself. TechRadar says Forbidden West is staggeringly beautiful, gripping, and filled with exciting robot dinosaur action. And that it is one of the best experiences you can get on PS5 right now. As someone who sometimes stops mid-quest to take a billion screenshots of that water reflection, I totally agree. The wildlife and machines are more varied. Hello, giant turtle. Side quests are actually interesting this time. And that Burning Shores DLC ziplined me around LA ruins with glee. Combat is fluid. Sneaking around a Thunderjaw, then unleashing your best spears and arrows combo feels really good. Plus, those 3D audio headphones lets me hear robo-pterodactyls gliding behind me. Horizon FW is basically Robot Safari 2025, and it runs gorgeous. If you want beautiful vistas, fierce battles, and an excuse to hoard arrows, it's PS5 gold through and through. Final Fantasy XVI is Square's heavy-hitting, action-packed Clive action adventure. Unlike past turn-based FF games, this one throws you straight into cinematic hack-and-slash battles with fire-breathing sword gods. I swear, some set pieces made me jump back. The story is full-on medieval political drama, betrayals, rebellion, and a very broody hero named Clive. TechRadar loves it, calling FF16 a shining example of narrative-focused games at their best, with immersive storytelling and cinematic action. In plain terms, the story scenes are as engrossing as a fantasy movie, and the fight sequences feel like a symphony of chaos. My thumbs still twitch from chaining combos like Dante and Devil May Cry, which is exactly what the combat was going for. And yes, it's dark and grim, but trust me, it's gorgeous. The world is dripping with detail, snowy moors, war-torn castles, and a vibe somewhere between Game of Thrones and anime. It might not be your cute upgrade your Knights game, but if you want an epic story full of dragons and raw emotion, FX delivers one of the series' finest narratives. It's a wild, sometimes brutal ride, and I loved every new twist and boss fight of it. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is the sequel to the epic remake, and wow, it's basically a whole new open-world adventure now. If you loved the first remake, who didn't? This one turns it up even more. The city and world are even bigger. Sephiroth is sneaking around. No spoilers. And the visuals? Holy punch. They really were right when they said FF7 Rebirth is easily one of the best-looking games ever made, and it sings on PS5. For example, there's a scene where Cloud and crew stand atop a waterfall. Raw fish could swim by the TV screen. The combat still blends magic and Buster sword glory, but now with open-world freedom. I spent hours chasing chocobo races. Honestly, it's like Square Enix gave us a new blockbuster movie. But don't worry, classic FF7 moments are sprinkled throughout for nostalgia. There are villains returning, towns to explore, and yes, the honeyed tunes. The soundtrack slaps. If the PS5 had Oscars, Rebirth would win for technical achievement. TLDR, it's Final Fantasy VII like you remember, but 7 times bigger and shinier. Gran Turismo 7 is the sim racing game that feels incredible on PS5. It's basically a car lover's dream come true and then some. With GT7, you're not just driving, you're in a photo mode waiting to happen. Every car's paint job, every track's reflection, the sky's lighting at dusk. It's all stunning. TechRadar raves that GT7 sets the bar astronomically high for all future racing sims. Not kidding, it's that good. The DualSense kicks back with road rumble through every turn, and loading screens are so short you can actually say you're racing rather than loading. Gameplay-wise, it's perfectly tuned. Realistic enough to satisfy petrol heads, but still accessible for rookies. I literally smiled when drifting a Nissan through midnight Tokyo streets, clutching the controller for dear life. There's also a sweet campaign to tinker your ride's engine, plus a mountain of races and licenses to conquer if you want to be fancy. If driving games are your thing, or if you just appreciate pretty screens and turbocharged vibes, GT7 shines. Slick visuals and masterful gameplay were real comments and reviews. To me, it just means GT7 is one racing game where I actually want to eat the scenery, because it looks that delicious. Elden Ring might not be a PS5 exclusive, but on PS5 it's like From Software's masterpiece got the deluxe edition treatment. The Lands Between is a sprawling fantasy world filled with gorgeous vistas and brutal challenges. You can ride a spectral horse across open fields, only to stumble into a castle being sieged by dragons. Critics call it nothing short of a masterpiece, saying it's genre-defining. And honestly, it's hard to disagree. Every corner feels handcrafted and mysterious. One moment you're sneaking through a swamp praying to a tree spirit, the next you're sword dueling a two-headed knight on a bridge at sunrise. It's also huge. On PS5, the load times are faster, so it never feels like a slog traveling, though trust me, it's tempting to fast travel from sweating at a boss fight. Elden Ring is tough as nail, perfect if you love grinding out character builds, but so rewarding when you finally topple that mountain troll after 50 tries. TechRadar even said after the big DLC, it's one of the best PS5 games around, challenging and gorgeous. Bottom line, Elden Ring is the giant boss fight road trip I didn't know I needed, and my thumbs will never forgive me for how often I fell off cliffs. In the best way, Elden Ring owns. Hogwarts Legacy is the open-world Harry Potter experience we always wanted, just with a dash of modern video game sense. You're a teen wizard in the 1800s, zipping around Hogwarts Castle and nearby forests on your broom, attending classes and dueling dark wizards. I mean, flying through the Great Hall with that enchanted ceiling had my jaw on the floor. The Guardian even compared it to an interactive Harry Potter museum, especially praising Hogwarts itself as the game's main character. And yup, it feels magical. You can brew potions, tame a hippogriff, and yes, even play a real game of wizard chess. Outside Hogwarts, the world is full of trolls, goblins, and ruins hiding secrets. It's like they gave you a whole free-roam wizarding world. Sure, the main story, goblins causing trouble, is kinda standard, but hardly matters because wandering around casting spells at random sheep is endlessly fun. My favorite part? Mounting your broom and flying under a starry sky over the Forbidden Forest. Definitely a childhood dream come true. It's pure fan service done really well. Hogwarts Legacy isn't perfect. Some quests do feel repetitive, but as the Guardian said, when it leans into its role as a wizarding wish fulfillment simulator, it is enchanting. In short, if you've ever yelled Wingardium Leviosa at your TV, this game is for you. Stray is the indie darling where you play as a stray cat in a neon-lit cyberpunk future. Yes, you read that right. You're a cat, but this isn't a meme game. It's surprisingly touching. You sneak around crumbling city streets, meowing to friendly robots and solving puzzles. Like literally batting a tug-of-war at a lock panel. The Guardian perfectly captured it. Stray is an excellent example of how a change of perspective can enliven a setting. I honestly found it quite moving. And as a cat lover, I totally agree. There's something adorable about seeing robots cautiously pet a little ginger cat or having a drone buddy as your translator. The world has been done before, post-apocalyptic, big robots, etc. But seeing it through a cat's eyes made it feel fresh. Every stretch on the roof or brush against a stranger feels satisfying. Gameplay is easy peasy. No need for 9 lives cheats. So you just play cat. I'll admit I was mesmerized. I got teary at one quiet ending moment I won't spoil. And that's coming from a tough dude who usually laughs at sad stuff. Stray's art style and lighting look amazing on PS5 too. Those neon signs reflecting off wet streets are hypnotic. The whole vibe is equal parts cyberpunk and kitten. And somehow it works beautifully. Stray isn't shouting about being a game master. Its strength is just letting you be a cat in a really cool world. And trust me, that is a perfectly good time. Deathloop is a mind-bending shooter that feels like Groundhog Day meets Hitman. You play Colt, an assassin stuck in a time loop on a stylish, retro-futuristic island. Every day you have to take out 8 targets before time resets. The catch? A sniper lady named Juliana, who's controlled by another player or AI, tries to stop you. It sounds crazy. And it is. But oh man, it's one of the most incredible gaming experiences. Polygon's review even said Deathloop is one of the most incredible games I've ever played. High praise, but deserved. The style is killer. Imagine 60s aesthetics, neon signs, and characters busting into song mid-mission. Gameplay-wise, it's super satisfying. One minute I was teleporting through vents, thanks to a power called Shift. The next I dominoed 4 guards by sniping one of them. Boom! Multi-takedown. You can bend time, hurl people with telekinesis, or just shotgun them. Every playstyle works. The PS5 adds to the thrill. Your guns sound thunderous with DualSense, and each power's use taps differently in your hands. Also, looping day 1 to day 2 and watching the world change, new paths open as time shifts, is wild. The story and characters are quirky, and you slowly piece together the mystery with each run. Expect plenty of aha moments when something clicks. If you like shooters with a twist, Deathloop is nuts in the best way. Addictive to retry and always full of surprises. Resident Evil Village takes you on an off-the-rails horror joyride, and it's fantastic on PS5. Playing Ethan Winters again, you find yourself in a creepy mountain village with werewolves, a giant Lady Dimitrescu, and all sorts of gothic creepouts. The action is way amped up. It's more Resident Evil 4 than 7 this time, but it still had me jumping at every creaking door. TechRadar sums it up. Village is a worthy successor to RE7 that blends action with old-school scares. Honestly, I screamed more at the story twist than at spiders. The PS5 makes it even scarier. Deep 3D audio means you literally feel something breathing behind you in headphones. 4K detail makes every scary face pop. Critics even say it might be perhaps the best entry in the series' modern history. Quo, which got me nodding. What I love most, you never know what monsters you'll face next. One moment, a vampire femme fatale. The next, a giant bone dragon. And managing your ammo feels thrilling. Sure, it leans more actiony than pure horror, but the setup is still intense. That castle finale? Blood pumping. Resident Evil Village is like a horror movie marathon that you get to play. Full of campy creeps, just the right amount of gore, and enough surprises to keep you on edge. If you've got a PS5, brace yourself. Dimitrescu would love for you to stay a while. Diablo 4 is here, and it reminds you why loot grinding feels so good. It's not PS5 exclusive, but it feels great on PS5. Fast loading, crisp visuals, and deep, dark dungeons to explore. The moment I started, I was hooked. Slashing through hordes of demons as a barbarian never felt smoother. Game Informer called Diablo 4 a massive and deeply engrossing action RPG, and they weren't kidding. The skill trees are beefy. I love tweaking my build on the fly, and the combat is fluid. Everything from my sword swoosh to a dragon's roar feels epic. The world is shared. You'll bump into other players, which adds cool chaos when surprise monsters gang up on you. Seriously, one time I got ambushed by 20 goatmen and a random sorcerer client player saved my butt with a fireball. Even side quests feel meaty. I got invested in little local stories. Defeat a nightmare overlord here, free a village there. Oh, and loot? Yes, the sweet, sweet loot. Clicking on shiny chest after chest becomes oddly satisfying. Every rare drop has me tweaking my character further. If you're into hack and slash that you can play solo or with friends, Diablo 4 nails it. Between the grimy atmosphere and the thrill of one more run, it's a definite goldmine for anyone who loves building a killing machine. Just don't blame me when you wake up at 3 a.m. still enchanting your battle axe. Kena, Bridge of Spirits looks and plays like a Pixar movie that you control. This storybook world, full of magical forests and mysterious caves, is unbelievably beautiful. The dev team was tiny, 15 people, but everything is of a Pixar-esque caliber, to quote a reviewer. Seriously, the mountain forests and rolling fields in this game will make you stop and just admire the view. You play Kena, a young spirit guide with a magical staff, helping lost souls and fighting corrupted enemies. The combat is satisfying. Slice and dice, collect little spirit buddies called the Rot, and the puzzles feel lovingly crafted like classic PS2 games. Think Jack and Daxter vibes. I found myself humming the soundtrack as I rescued cute forest spirits. On PS5, it runs super smooth in 60 FPS, so action feels snappy. The DualSense even adds little rumble kisses when Kena uses magic. It's not a hardcore game. It's gentle, rewarding exploration and heartwarming story all the way. If you're in the mood for an uplifting adventure with gorgeous graphics, seriously, half the game is just pausing to look at sunsets in-game. Kena is pure gold. It reminded me how fun games from that era were, but polished with modern flair. And there it is, the golden lineup. 20 PS5 games that don't just shine, they glow. Whether you were swinging through New York, slicing through demons, cuddling ghost pets, or just vibing with robots in neon alleys, these games delivered. They weren't just fun. They were the kind that leave an imprint on your brain. You know, the I'll just play for 15 minutes. And suddenly it's sunrise kind of fun. Now here's a question for you. How many of these have you actually played? And more importantly, which one's calling your name next? Because somewhere in this list there's a title you probably overlooked, and it's just waiting to blow your socks off and maybe emotionally wreck you in the best way possible. If this video gave you a few new games to try or made you shout, yes, finally someone mentioned that one, then hey, mission accomplished. Hit that like button like it owes you XP, drop a comment with your favorite hidden gem, and if you haven't already, subscribe for more stories from the digital worlds we love to get lost in. Until next time, keep your DualSense charged, your save files backed up, and remember, great games don't just entertain, they stay with you long after the credits roll. Catch you in the next one.